Rolling. Welcome back to another video, ladies and gentlemen. Nasty out, brutal out. Nobody at the boat landing. We just drove 3 hours for a new mission today. Obviously we're springtime walleye fishing. It looks like winter to you guys. It's actually April, believe it or not. And due to some stuff we've had going on the back end that you guys don't see, we basically only had 2 days to fish this week, which is not a normal week, but these are the 2 days. Snow for 48 hours, winds 30 to 35, gusting higher, and basically half the state's getting shut down roadway wise. So we drove down here as quick as we could to beat the storm. So we're here because once the storm hits, there's no way we're going anywhere. And there's some days where it's not as much you against the fish as it is you against the conditions. And you just kind of get in your zone and just fight and fight and fight for kind of whatever you can catch. And that's going to kind of be what we're hoping today's video is. We haven't fished here, Mitchell, in probably not last year for sure, not anytime this year. So it's been probably 2 or 3 years at least since we fished here. And we're going to take the XL. We're going to dump it in a snowy, extremely cold and windy little river. And hopefully we're going to show you guys some decent walleyes. We have no idea what to expect. Obviously conditions aren't his deal, but buckle up. We're going to put every piece of clothing we have on and hopefully catch some walleyes today. Gonna be nasty though. If you're gonna be dumb, you gotta be tough. All right, well, there's 2 positives on this trip, timing-wise. One, there's nobody fishing. I think this is like a decently common spot to go fish for them in the spring, but the other thing is, we had a big storm like this come through last week too. And basically the water level shot up 1.5 feet. I was just kind of looking at water levels online. And that normally bodes well for fishing. The downside is I'm sure the water temp came down about 5 degrees because we got 37-degree water, and I'm sure it was probably 42, 43 or something last week when we had temperatures in the 50s and upper 40s. So it's an uphill fight, but we're essentially going to fish some spots I'd fish in a situation where you have a little bit higher water and just kind of see what happens. Now, the water's by no means high because it's been very low all year, but we're going to dump the trolling motor, start fishing, and grind on them and grind on them and grind on them until we get the desired result. Alright guys, well we got a few different presentations we're going to use, but one which I just can't say no to is obviously the tickle shad. We're going to rig up this real white color, kind of a brighter whitey looking thing. And we're probably going to be fishing a lot of like 3 to 6 feet of water, at least that's the hope. And a lot of times I look at shallower if the water's come up a little bit, but so I'm going to go all the way down to like an 1/8 ounce or a 1/4 ounce, and we'll just kind of see what the current dictates here. And a lot of times, you know, you might start out with one jig weight fishing one depth and end up somewhere else fishing a lighter or heavier jig weight to deal with different styles of current. But so we're going to get that on, and then we're going to get a hair jig, Google Eye hair jig tied on in a 1/4 or 1/8 right there, in a little different color. And this might be a pipe dream, but we're also going to try a crankbait possibly, and we'll just kind of see what they want the most. But that's what we're going to start with anyways. That is the presentation right there. Wish me luck, Mitchell. Oh, that worked out just exactly how we wanted it to. I'm actually shocked we got bit that early on. Made a couple casts, and that fish absolutely smoked it, dude. Now, this is obviously the first day of this huge storm, and sometimes, I'm not going to say all the time, I mean, this is a big temperature swing, but sometimes if you get here on the first day, oh, it's a super nice fish. Those fish will be bitey. And we got a nice one on here. Well, this might work out, Mitchell, huh? I mean, look at this. That was literally like my 3rd or 4th cast. Just side imaged a few fish in a little current pocket. Look at that, dude. Wow. There's hope, Mitchell. You needed this fish more than I did.
Did I?
I think you just needed it for a little, like, this could happen.
Maybe.
But there we go. Look at that, dude. Wow. All right. Well, this is a good sign. Because everything, you know, a lot of this year's been strange. We've just had such low flow everywhere that there hasn't been a lot of, like, female walleyes in the river. Is this one a female? Yeah, she's got some eggs on her. And I was just hoping that even though it's been cold, we had this water level come up a little bit, that you'd see some more of these females up in these rivers. And if we can just keep piling fish on like this all day, I mean, that's a good day. I mean, I hope we get a bigger one. But, wow, dude. I mean, that's like exactly what you want right there, isn't it? Look at that. Beautiful, man. Now, if we can keep doing that, we'll stay warm today. I don't know how well this is coming through on the camera, but it is absolutely insane out. The wind is out of control, extremely cold, and obviously it's just complete whiteout right now. So let's make it happen, though, buddy. Let's make it happen. Oh, dude, I absolutely smoked it. Dude, these fish might actually be bitey. And it's feeling nice, too. I mean, it was so far back there. It's hard to say. Literally caught that first fish. This might be the 10th cast. Now, this might just be dumb luck. I'm not sure, but I mean, this is feeling nice, dude. Yeah, I mean, you fished here. A lot of times you could just get into like 14, 16 inches, can't you? And I think we might be on. I mean, this is definitely not a 14 or 15 incher, I can tell you that much. I'm getting good head shakes. Oh, dude. This is going to be fun, I think. This is going to be fun. Come here, bud. Where are you? Oh, yeah, dude. It's another real nice walleye. Look at these things. We got a river to ourselves. We're catching nice fish. Got to grab the net. Oh, yes, Mitchell. Yes. Fatty, dude. Fatty. We're getting it done, dude. Look at that. This is turning into a good time real fast. Sometimes the juice is worth the squeeze on these kind of days. And look at that. You think you wanted that? You think you wanted that? I'll link that bait down below. It's tickle shad. You guys know I fish that bait a ton, but for anybody who's maybe new to this channel, that thing in river systems is a beast. And look at that fish, man. Super quality walleyes right there. That is what we're after. Yeah, this might be one of the few times where we just go out fishing and the pattern works out to exactly what we thought. And this could be the deal, though, huh, Mitchell? Oh, look at that. It's cold in the hands, it's cold in the face, but my heart is warm. I hadn't fished in like 5 days probably, and Mitch knew I was just going absolutely crazy. But we're back, baby. Oh, that feels good. That feels good. I don't know what else there is to say. So to be honest with you guys, we have no idea how this video is going to work out. We may break a camera. We may break 2 cameras. We might break a expensive mic setup. We're really pushing the boundaries today. Mitchell had his hesitations immediately about the camera possibly breaking, which, what did I respond to you? I said, we'll just buy another one if it breaks. Yeah. But if this video is not trimmed and polished, how you guys are used to watching one, it's probably because something got really wet and either the audio didn't pick up or the camera's fogged up. I mean, all of those are likely probabilities today. So yeah, I mean, all we could do is, Mitch can't leave the camera out full time, so he's got to leave it like covered up in something. And then when I set the hook, we transfer over from the GoPro. Otherwise, it is a mad scramble. But our apologies in advance. We're trying. You live, camera guy? Not feeling as big as the other two, but we just kind of changed casting angle here in this current seam. Oh, he might be getting bigger though, Mitchell. He might be getting bigger. Man, and they are just absolutely throttling it, dude. I mean, just like clunk. The big classic jig clunk. He's actually, you know, at first those head shakes are real tight. Now look at him. Oh yeah. Another dandy, dude. I mean, what is going on right now? This is ridiculous. Come here, bud. Come here, bud. Oh, look at him. It is so extreme out. It is ridiculous. Hopefully this audio is okay. I mean, it's got to be blowing 30 plus easy. And we're catching super nice river walleyes, man. And they're actually biting. You know, a lot of times you can tell a lot by how a few different fish bite. You know, a lot of times you'll just feel that, you'll just kind of go to pick up your jig and it's just like there's mush there. And that's those fish that just kind of scoop it off the bottom. You know, they're real lethargic. And then you get the fish like this, which I'm just slacklining that thing back there in the current, and all of a sudden just boom, you just feel that whole line twitch, and that fish just absolutely thump it like that, and then they're all down the hatch. I mean, dude, these are stud river walleyes on a system like this, running around in the John boat, going little river to little river and catching fish like that. Are you kidding me? How was your hands, cameraman?
Good.
You're still doing good? I'm doing good. See you later, buddy. Oh, look at him. Fat river walleyes, dude. In the snowstorm. Oh, the only thing we really got to worry about is how we're going to actually get home after this, you know? Because I looked at the Wisconsin road maps condition, and the whole thing was just like bright red this morning, which is not generally a great travel indicator, would you say? We'll risk it for the biscuit. 7 days a week, 365, baby. All right. We have pillaged spot number 1. Now, what do you do when you catch fish on one spot, Mitchell? Try to find another spot that looks just like the first spot and hope that the same results happen. But basically, we just filmed a video on this last week, fishing. We're actually doing some nighttime fishing, but the same exact spot applies. How we're kind of looking for these little bit kind of little shallow kind of areas with some specific kind of bottom contrast. And that's on the app, right? You put it on there? Yep. So Mitchell will probably throw in some fancy B-roll right here. But if you guys kind of want to get the laydown on how to come to some of these rivers and kind of exclusively try to target like the females in the system or some of the larger fish in a system, this video pretty much does a perfect job of kind of walking you through it. So jump on the app and it's right there. So we appreciate you guys and all the messages you guys sent on that. But for now, we're moving. Spot 2 is coming up. We're rocking and rolling, baby. We're getting it done. The hands are getting cold, but we're catching fish, and it feels incredibly good. We just kind of made a little shift in this current seam, and it's always crazy how, you know, let's say you set up in a current seam, catch a couple fish. Dude, just another really nice fish. I mean, look at that thing. And it's always crazy how when you're in one of these seams, you know, when you're fishing a real light jig like this, basically what happens is if you're set up right where we are and you cast back, your jig's going to eventually swing back and come straight back to the boat. So even if you just shift like 10 feet to the right, it totally changes how that cast comes back into that seam. So a lot of times just like a small move can make a really big difference in how your bait goes through an area. And that's a lot of times all it takes to put your bait in front of more fish. So kind of keep that in mind, you know, and I always got to do it too. A lot of times as a fisherman, you get in an area and you catch a couple fish and then you make 20 more casts, don't catch any. You're like, oh man, better move spots, right? A lot of times in these rivers, makes it different than a lake. If you just bump 10, 15 feet left or right or up or down, you'll have a whole different trajectory on how your cast fishes. So let's let that guy go. Another perfect one, man. Putting the old Kalen's landing net to use today, which you guys have been raving about, which makes it even cooler, obviously, if you guys, this is your first time watching this channel, we came out with a landing net. We kind of got the prototype one all last year, and it weighs 1.8 pounds, Mitchell. Can you believe that?
Pretty light.
Pretty gosh dang light. But we'll link it down below for anybody interested in getting a new net. The number one question always asked on YouTube, Mitchell, which is always kind of funny, what was it? Net. What kind of net do you use? Now we can tell you and show you guys what kind of net we use. We're getting it done, buddy. How are your hands?
Good.
Mitchell's hands are good. How are your feet, though?
I'm wet.
Mitchell says he's wet already. If he's telling me that, this is a ticking. The clock is now ticking that Mitchell's wet until we have to get out of here. Or go sit in the truck. Are we good? Somehow we had a break in the snow here for about the last 10 minutes. Made a little move. We got another one on. I actually just switched out to a hair jig, and that was like my second cast with it. Fishing the old Google Eye hair jig. And he absolutely smoked it, dude. Took a couple casts with that swim bait in there. Put the old hair jig on. Here's a nice one. Not a giant, but dude, man, did he ever wallop that thing. And that, I mean, those are even nice, super nice fish right there. Look at that hair jig. Absolutely choked, dude. I mean, that is the way you want him to eat it right there. And that's the 1/8 ounce hair jig, which is actually a new one for this year, but it works so well in kind of some of these like skinny water river situations. Or if you're pitching like super shallow water, finicky walleyes like at a natural lake. But you guys know how much I like that hair jig. It's arguably one of my absolute favorite springtime baits. And dude, that is just another super nice fish right there. I mean, this is going substantially better than I thought it was going to go. Super nice fish, and we've only had to move a couple times today. We definitely, this is one of those days where we just got onto the pattern right away. Let's let that guy go, man. She's cold on the fingers, Mitchell. Oh, it flopped away before I got your hero release shot there. We need a redo?
No, it's all good.
It's all good? I was going to say, I'll just get you another one real quick, son. Back in. You still filming?
Yep.
I always get a lot of questions on hair jigs if you need to tip it with anything. I arguably have better luck not tipping it with anything. The one thing is that I've noticed is that you want a very slim, sleek hair jig, like these Google-eyed jigs were tied. And that's kind of one thing I enjoy, I guess, about what I get lucky enough to do with some fishing companies is kind of design fishing baits how I like them. One thing I always saw with hair jigs was way too much hair on them. Where this one, the way we got the Google Eye hair jigs tied, they're very sleek and thin, which at first you might look at like, that's dumb, there's hardly any hair on it, right? But it actually catches more fish. It's a lot more minnow profile-y when it's thin and sleek like that. Where's my jerky, Mitchell?
Where is it?
Well, we brought stuff for the jet boil, but I don't think we have any fuel for the jet boil. So unless you want cold soup.
Right there.
No. Where's the other one? Oh. Fresh venison jerky.
You made it.
I made it, of course. Out of extreme boredom in the last snowstorm, I made about 20 pounds of venison jerky. Now, there's a great debate. Is it better ground or is it better straight cuts? Personally, I like...
ground.
You think ground for real? You're just saying that.
More flavor out of it.
Straight cuts are better.
Good?
Yep.
Sure.
Well, cameraman's instructing me that we need a segment answering a few YouTube questions. Normally we do this over a jet boil, but we have no fuel for the jet boil, so just gonna be jerky questions.
I like it.
All right. Welcome back to A Minute with Tom, where we answer your questions right now. You like that or no?
Yeah.
All right, so a couple questions. One question is, what is your favorite jig rod for spring walleye fishing? Get that all the time. What rod are you using? What's your go-to jig rod? And there's a lot of different kinds of jig rods, from really aggressive heavy action jig rods for working big heavy baits. There's really light short jig rods for fishing
light presentations, vertical, right? The best all-around one that I like to fish 99% of the time is this one right here. This is an Elliott 6'9" medium light fast. Medium light is perfect for a lot of these 1/8 ounce to 3/8 ounce jigs. The length is nice for casting. The action is really nice where it gives me just the right amount of tip load. Whereas I cast a bait backwards, that tip's just slightly bowed, right? The second that thing hits bottom, boom, it'll just bounce right back to straight. So it's very visual, right? If you get too stiff, what's gonna happen? Number one, it's gonna be hard to cast light baits. Number two, you're not gonna get any of that tip flex in there. The Elliott rods are probably the most sensitive rods I've ever used. I know Mitchell's gonna agree with me. Super nice for fishing in cold water with you got gloves on, because they got you know, this basically the Syncork material on here, which is incredibly grippy and tacky and absorbs no water. This is the rod that I fish 99% of the time when I'm jig fishing. 10-pound Suffix 832, tied into a 10 or 12 or 14-pound leader, depending on what I'm doing. And that rod will catch a fish on a jig anywhere you're gonna go. So that's pretty simple right there. The other question, which we get all the time, is why don't you guys keep more walleyes or saugers? Now, that question, it's not because we don't like eating walleyes. Walleyes are a delicious fish, unfortunately for them, right, Mitchell?
They are, yeah.
I'm gonna swallow this jerky.
Very unfortunate for walleyes, actually.
I know, I always wish bass and walleyes could get swapped. But anyways, why do we not keep a lot of walleyes? Honestly, for me, it's more of a respect thing. I rely on them to do what I do. So I'm just not gonna go out and keep a whole bunch. Now, obviously the dream is that we all go to our favorite walleye lake and we know the population is very robust and can handle catching fish, and you know, you feel like you can keep a couple fish each time you go there. But the reality is that's not every single lake, right? So we as fishermen need to be thinking, you know, conservatively, or as conservationists, as sportsmen, Mitchell, and letting a lot more fish go. I know you'll agree with me on that, but we just don't feel the need to keep fish every time we go, or even most times we go. So
Once in a while.
Once in a while, yeah, on a system that's just known for producing a pile of 14 to 17 inch fish or something like that. The other question, which I'm just tossing in, which Mitchell asked me just before this, what is the perfect jerky marinade?
Oh boy. I would say for the viewers at home, and make sure they hear this, take this with a grain of salt.
No, this is pretty dang good though.
It is, yeah, it's good.
Now, I don't even know why Mitchell's saying this, because this is really good jerky. What you want to do, harvest yourself
Big whitetail boone.
a mature whitetail, 4.5 to 6.5. Just kind of my preferred year class.
Is it?
I don't think I've ever shot a deer that big. But 3.5-year-olds will eat up too. Now, cut it in real thin slices. Real thin, right? Then you're going to want to marinate it. Worcestershire, soy sauce. This one might throw you for a loop, Mitchell. Honey,
Oh, I like it.
red pepper flake, pineapple juice,
Oh, I'm liking it.
and I'm missing
I
anything.
already forgot.
I think that's kind of the mix right there.
Okay. All right.
You kind of want to mix it up till it gets a little tacky. You don't want it to be like super liquidy.
Show me the tacky piece here.
And you can kind of see it. It almost kind of like wants to stick together a little bit.
Ooh.
That's what you want. Now the secret's getting that mature whitetail, but yeah, that's neither here nor there. Back to fishing, Mitchell. Well, we are hooked up. Feeling all right, Mitchell, feeling all right. Just absolutely crushed the tickle shad. And you guys could probably tell by the GoPro footage, that was one of those bites where, oh yeah, real nice fish too here. I mean, that's what we're after, that's what we're after. Getting it done in the snowstorm, baby. Look at that. We have no idea how this video is gonna come together. There might be clips with no audio. There might be clips with messed up audio. Mitchell's looking at the camera right now like it's doing something weird. We might break a camera in the process of this. We might break the mics in the process of this, but we refuse to leave broken-hearted. And when they're biting a bait like that, oh, that's what we like right there. And one thing we're putting together is, even though it's cold out, we're getting fish It seems like if we get way up in some of these like real slacky stuff, we're finding some willing players. That's a nice fish right there. Chunky, man. Chunky pre-spawn river walleyes. Back in the drink she goes. We're soaking wet. The fish are soaking wet. But if we can stick a few more, it's gonna be a good day.
How far is the hotel?
Just like 10 minutes north.
Oh, okay.
All those like little back road things. Oh. Oh man, we're having some fun now. We are having some fun now. This is feeling like a nice fish. Man, and I am just going so slow in the current. Mitchell just asked me how far is the hotel, because if it's like 20 miles down a highway, we're gonna be in trouble. But don't worry, Mitchell, it's not very far. Another real nice walleye here. We're definitely on some nice fish, and you guys are kind of seeing the plan come together at this point. Let me grab the old Kalen's net. We'll scoop them up here for you guys. And if that just ain't the prettiest sight you've ever seen right there. Oh, that is a super nice fish. I bumped the camera, but is it still functioning? We're still good? Oh man. Nasty weather. And before we planned this trip, we looked at a few different areas where we could go. They all looked absolutely terrible as far as the weather. And I remember texting Mitch, I was like, let's film something where it's like us against the weather, where you just have to make it happen. And we're making it happen. It feels good, dude. It feels super good. Not only are we making it happen, but our quality is really good too. I mean, these are super nice fish. Any spring river you're going to, these are them right here. Now, one thing we had happen over the course of the last week, I'd say, is we had a big snowstorm / half rainstorm that kind of covered a lot of the Midwest. And it took water levels and it jumped them up about a foot in some places. Other places it didn't do much, but the water level probably came up about a foot, where we're fishing 1.5 feet from what I could see. On a lot of times you can look at a lot of like dam data. You can just Google a dam and type in water level. It'll kind of show you what they are. And whenever you have a system where you got a lake on one end, a dam on the other, and that water starts to come up, that is the biggest trigger. A lot of times I think it's less about water temp and more about when you get that flow coming up. It just tickles those fish's noses down in the lake and starts bringing them upriver. And my guess would be previously, you know, if you come here a couple weeks ago in a system like this, it'd be a lot more like males, because they're always kind of the first to run. But we're obviously seeing kind of that first wave of females coming into this river system, and we'll take it. I mean, 70 and sunny would be nicer, but it'll do. Rolling. Man, I pitched way up in shallow. It's gonna be a real nice fish here, Mitchell. Oh man, dude, you want to talk about crazy conditions and trying to make it happen? Super nice one here. I mean, we are just on some super nice walleyes, man. And this is a ton of fun, you know, fishing a medium light or a light action rod, pitching real light jigs up shallow, and just feeling that line get absolutely smashed. Come here, buddy. Oh, look at that. I don't know how you could script it any better. We're making it happen. This is exactly what we wanted. And I don't know if Mitchell pans over to kind of show a shallower pitch. You can literally see like a stump like bobbing it. Can you think they can see that, Mitchell? There's literally a stump out of the water right there, and I caught that fish probably back behind it 15 feet. I mean, 2 or 3 feet of water sometimes. That's just another super nice fish, man. They pull so hard in the current. I mean, look at those. That's a good one anywhere you go, especially you know, you come to some of these smaller river systems like this, and these fish are so much fun. And there is possibly not a more fun way to fish than putting on a little plastic like that, pitching it around super shallow, and just feeling the line get crushed. I mean, there's something special about coming to these little rivers like this in the spring and making it happen. we always dream, you know, all winter long of, oh, gotta get out there on the biggest lake, the biggest system, and, you know, get up in the front of a big boat and pitch around and catch fish. But arguably one of the funnest things that's always got a sweet spot in my heart to do is come to these little river systems this time of year and catch a whole bunch of walleyes like that. And that is perfect. And that's the bait we've kind of been alternating around, hair jig and this bait right here. But this is a 1/8 ounce Kalen's Google Eye jig, real light and wispy up there and shallow, and then we're actually putting just a 2.8 inch tickle shad on there. And that's a setup, and that kind of real white color they seem to like, but just getting it up there in that real slack stuff. You go to a 1/4 ounce or heavier, your jig's just too much on the bottom, and they want it real slow, going just as light as you can and just kind of feathering that thing around. And just working it super slow is definitely the key to getting bites a lot of times on these days. Crap. Heat. All right, guys, so it got extreme out there, and there was probably about 2 hours there where it was just coming down as thick, heaviest, wettest snow you've ever seen. And on top of that, it was blowing about 30, 35, it felt like. Ridiculous conditions. But with that being said, we came, we saw, we conquered. We're both, our hands are soaked. Mitchell says his feet are soaked somehow, which I don't even know how that's possible. And he says at one point today, he said the rain ran down his sweatpants and into his boots, so his whole lower half is wet. We're gonna have to get you some Sims Challenger bibs, Mitchell. But hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this one. Actually went better than anticipated as far as the size of the fish goes. I knew we'd catch fish, I just didn't know we could get that amount of like nicer quality ones. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching it. You know, sometimes it's you against the elements. Sometimes it's easy to say, oh, we'll wait till Tuesday and go. We'll wait till next weekend and go, right? Can't catch them from the couch is the old saying. What's the other old saying, Mitchell?
Bad day.
Bad day of fish, it's better than a good day at work, boys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this one. We had a lot of fun. We're cold. We're going to go find a hotel room. We're going to get some Domino's, Mitchell, and then we're going to pass out. And hopefully they have a dryer there so we can dry our crap off. But hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this one. Check out the stuff on the Walleye Now site if you haven't. We put a ton of content on there this year. We've been loving hearing all your guys' feedback on the Walleye Now app. So appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for the next one. Next time, Mitchell, we got a little surprise for him on the next video, but stay tuned for that. We'll see you guys next time.